Hey there, folks. Welcome to Spectrum Pulse. We talk about music, movies, art, and culture, and it's Billboard Breakdown. Okay, second last week of the Billboard year for 2017, where the final list of songs that have any shot of clinching a spot narrows down all the further, and where one album smash last week made an utterly exasperating non-impact on the Hot 100, this week somehow we got even less when Without Warning by Offset, 21 Savage, and Metro Boomin crashed through. Now, again, how much any of this will matter in a few weeks when the rest of Taylor Swift's reputation just destroys everything in its path, I cannot tell you that. But for now, I would not put any money on the Hot 100 remaining stable, even going into the next week. And nowhere is that more pronounced than in our top 10. Yes, Rockstar by Post Malone featuring 21 Savage is clinging to that number one with steadily growing airplay, good sales, and holding the top in on-demand streaming. But now, more than ever, it faces a challenger, and that is Havana by Camila Cabello featuring Young Thug. And with its gains, it's really a margins game if and when it can overtake Rockstar, because its sales and YouTube are better, and it is dangerously close on the radio. Now, this places Bodak Yellow by Cardi B in a bit of a weird position down to number 3. It's doing well on YouTube, it had a good sales week, but thanks to weakening radio and streaming, it might have fallen back regardless of Havana. Similar case for 1-800-273-8255 by Logic featuring Alessia Cara and Khalid at number 4, as its radio seemed to peak this week, and it took hits across the board regardless. Now, it's got enough radio and YouTube for a slow descent out of the top 10, but the prospects here are not great. Now, where they're a fair bit better is Thunder by Imagine Dragons at number 5, which rules sales and spent the week charging up the radio, which even despite lousy streaming, it was enough to hold up against Feel It Still by Portugal the Man, which is now down to number 6 as sales remain only okay and its radio seems to have finally peaked. And now it becomes a question of margins yet again when we take a look at our new top 10 arrival, one that I depressingly predicted last week, Gucci Gang by Lil Pump at number 7. And as usual, it's here because of streaming and YouTube, and pretty much just that, because sales are still low and the radio refuses to touch him. Compare this to a radio powerhouse like Sorry Not Sorry by Demi Lovato, but even that presence is wavering, and with the sales drop off, it's no surprise this went down to number 8. Then we have Mijante by J Balvin, Willie William, and Beyonce down to number 9, and really I have no idea whatsoever what this song is doing, with radio all over the place and everything else pretty static. It probably just got overtaken by Gucci Gang, which is probably also a similar case for Too Good at Goodbyes by Sam Smith down to number 10, which near the end of its week picked up some traction, and with the album dropping I would put money on this picking up more radio spins, but again, pretty static this week. It probably got overtaken. And on a very different note are losers and dropouts, and most of these you could have seen coming. Friends by Justin Bieber and Blood Pop is out after consistently underperforming, as is Escapate Conmigo by Wisin and Ozuna, and Love Galore by SZA featuring Travis Scott, it exits after just getting enough points to make the year-end list for 2017. What probably will just miss the cut is It's a Vibe by 2 Chainz featuring Ty Dolla $ign, Trey Songz, and Jhené Aiko, and Butterfly Effect by Travis Scott. Man, Travis Scott did not have a good week here. And it's a similar case for our losers. You could likely call that More Girls Like You by Kit Moore is continuing down to 99, or that off the debut Gorgeous by Taylor Swift fell hard to 69, and Patak Water by Future, Young Thug, and Offset went to 77. Then there's Glorious by Macklemore featuring Skylar Grey at 87. This song has stuck around a fair bit longer than I think I and anyone else could have predicted. And finally, All the Pretty Girls by Kenny Chesney went down to 97. Probably exiting a little bit early, but it was never a big hit or a good song, so yeah, I'm quite fine with that. Now, where things get a fair bit more interesting comes in our gains and our returning entries. Well, okay, mainly the returning entries, because you could easily explain all of our gains and pickups this week. Ready For It by Taylor Swift surged up to 19 off of the video. Love So Soft by Kelly Clarkson moved up to 47 off of the album, as did Questions by Chris Brown up to 79. Then you have NF capitalizing on momentum to rise up to 61 with Let You Down, and somehow Wolves by Selena Gomez and Marshmello had a monster sales week, which put it up to 35. The only real surprise for me in our gains is Skywalker by Miguel featuring Travis Scott, but that could be linked to better radio traction than I think anybody expected. Interesting there. Now, our returning entries always tends to be a bit of a mixed bag after an album bomb like last week, and some like High End by Chris Brown featuring Young Thug and Future up to 100 you would expect, especially as Chris Brown is trying and mostly failing to get more of that double album monstrosity to chart on the Hot 100. But as for the others, well, Macklemore featuring Kesha got Good Old Days back to 72, likely on some quiet radio pickups, but I'm not sure why we got Mayores by Becky G featuring Bad Bunny back up to 83. Then we have You Broke Up With Me by Walker Hayes at 91. Let's pray this does not get any higher. But the real surprise for me in country was Ask Me How I Know by Garth Brooks at 90. According to my sources, this is actually doing pretty well on country radio, which is actually a pretty significant surprise. Garth Brooks hasn't had success in probably over 15 years. But now on to the matter at hand, our new arrivals. Starting off with number 98, All On Me by Devin Dawson.
When it don't add up, you can count on me. When you're low, come get high on me. Make it slow, take your time on me. Settle in, let it out, come and lay on me. When it gets heavy, put the weight on me. Baby, put it all on me.
So okay, like most pop-leaning country tracks, this one is following in the straightforward but relatively likable way to Brett Young and charting a good 8 months after it was initially released. Now, if you know this guy at all, it's probably for a Taylor Swift mashup he put together on YouTube, but he landed a record deal, and with the support of producer Jay Joyce, he got this song to chart. And honestly, pretty decent track. The guitar tones are warm and well balanced. I like those touches of organ, and while I think those multi-track vocals might have a tad too much reverb overall, for a gentle, hey, you can lean on me girl song, I have certainly heard guys make far worse, mostly because Dawson sounds pretty likable and sincere. So yeah, this is decent. Not all that memorable, sure, but definitely passable. If you're curious, check it out. Number 94, My Choppa Hate N-Words by 21 Savage and Metro Boomin.
You might got a pistol, but the stick is way bigger. I call it KKK, cause my chopper hate niggas. Hang around a lot of gang banging ass niggas. Crip blood, blue or red, what you bang, nigga. You might got a pistol, but the stick is way bigger. I call it KKK, cause my chopper hate niggas.
So now we're getting into the thick of Without Warning, and just like Super Slimy, we're getting a selection of cuts where 21 Savage and Offset work together and some solo joints between them. Now we're starting with the latter, and really, if 21 Savage is trying to deliver a creepy track touching on gang violence between the Crips and Bloods, I'm not really all that impressed by this. I get the slightly atonal warping synths around the brittle trap beat is supposed to intensify that atmosphere, but 21 Savage is such a limited rapper in terms of bars and delivery that I can't really feel anything all that intimidating or dark about this song, especially as in the second verse he feels the need to reassert that just cause he raps he will still kill you, even as a few lines later he's bragging about his Bentley as if that's remotely relevant in a song like this. No, I don't hate this, but it's really too short and lacking any sort of distinctive personality to click more. Just kind of mediocre and really kind of forgettable. Sorry. Number 74, Rap Save Me by 21 Savage, Offset, Metro Boomin featuring Quavo.
I'm front of gutter, ain't no changing. Front of gutter, rap save me. She drive me crazy. Have my baby, need my cash, need my racks. Fuck you, pay me.
So okay, now we got the whole crew together with even Quavo along for the ride, and again, I'm finding myself gravitating a lot more to Metro Boomin's production than a lot of the content here. It's got the foundation of that warping sample against the bassy trap beat and the distant screams and tire squealing that it helps with the atmosphere, but I particularly like how with each verse you get distinctive melodic elements that set more of the mood for that rapper. The binaural rattling shifts of guitar for Offset, the piano for 21 Savage, and that muted bass swells that kick into the more prominent melodic tones for Quavo. But look, the second you actually start looking at the content, I hate to say it, but all the brand name flexing kind of undercuts the atmosphere that's trying to be so much more damn menacing and imposing. Now I'll take Offset and Quavo's verses over 21 Savage's here, but again, I keep having the sneaking suspicion that this should be a fair bit better than it is. It's not bad, but I have a hard time calling this good either. Number 71, Ric Flair Drip by Offset and Metro Boomin.
I'm tryna fuck you on your bestie, yeah. Chopper with this girl, so do not test me, yeah. Ric Flair drip, go woo on a bitch. 5790, spent the coupe on my wrist. Multi-million dollar, I'm a fool with the hits. Hop up in the lemon, drop the roof, show the tips.
So okay, now Offset has got the solo joint with Metro Boomin, and wow, I actually like this a fair bit more. Again, Metro Boomin's production is the standout here. Solid creeping keys that develop into a more interesting melody than you would expect, all against a bass bounce that has a surprising amount of groove to it. And yeah, Offset is not delivering anything but raw hedonism, brand name flexing, and shooting people. But you know what? If Offset is using this project to make a case for his own solo career, he's certainly showing off the skill to pull it off with his triple time flow on that second verse. And he's definitely improved in terms of his structure and his diction, where if he didn't have auto-tune, I might actually like this even more. Hell, even at the end of the day, while I might personally prefer Takeoff's gruffer delivery, if Offset keeps delivering songs like this, he could be pretty credible outside of Migos, and proof that Quavo didn't deserve all of the guest verses. So yeah, this is pretty good. I'll take it. Number 57, Ghostface Killers by 21 Savage, Offset, and Metro Boomin featuring Travis Scott.
Pussy nigga, run your charm. Ghostface Killers, Wu-Tang, 21 News Gang, drug dealers in the Moosang, at the top of the food chain, trapping the cocaine, no game, shooter with no names. We can play toe games, the whole game, kicking your dough, man.
So let me make this very clear. If you're going to title your song after a rapper who I would argue has had multiple classic albums, both with Wu-Tang and solo, I'm gonna expect the bars to be on point. I mean, I already dug the production thanks to the bells and the dreary keys against that oily progression on the hook. And you know what? Offset was clearly gonna be spitting on his hook and his verse. And you know what? He certainly is, but okay, let's be real. This is not so much Wu-Tang Clan as content that you would hear on any other Migos record. Hell, Offset even references dabbing. It doesn't even try to force the rhyme of Italy and pitiful. Now, 21 Savage is intimidating enough on his verse, it's not bad, but then you follow it with Travis Scott telling us to watch our fingers cause the cactus is dangerous. That's right, he took one of the stupidest lines of his entire career on a song I actually really like, referring to his dick and then trying to turn this into a thing. Beyond that, and the fact that Travis Scott makes a point of saying that he's repping Nike, not Adidas, like Offset, which doesn't seem like it would fit with the brand synergy. You know what, this song is fine enough, but worthy of matching up with Ghostface proper and making that reference? Yeah, no, not a chance in hell. And finally, number 14, Motorsport by Migos, Nicki Minaj, and Cardi B.
Cotton candy, my cup tastes like the fair. Straight up there, where we didn't take the stairs. Face my fears, gave my mama tears. Shifting gears, on the knock, get serious.
Okay, so when Cardi B beat Nicki Minaj to the solo number 1, I think that everybody was expecting it to get kinda catty, and yet to my pleasant surprise, that didn't happen at all. In fact, Nicki seems to be playing things with Cardi B in good spirits. Props Cardi B seems overjoyed to get, and the fact that they're now both hopping on a track together with Migos seems pretty promising to me. Of course, Migos are now using it as the lead-off single to their next album, Culture 2, so they were bound to take more time on the song, even if I would definitely argue that Quavo's hook and verse are by far the worst things about this. Seriously, what sort of Travis Scott impression is he trying here? Drowning in autotune won't make your verse feel any more painfully underwritten, and that Deflategate reference is painfully dated. Now, thankfully, Offset shows up to stabilize things with a decent verse that shows off a little bit more lyrical detail than we saw thus far, but then Cardi B shows up and pretty much runs away with the entire damn song. Now, seriously, if you're looking for a sharper contrast between why I've never really been a big Nicki Minaj fan, and yet I could back somebody like Cardi B, it is in here. The bars and rhymes are consistently connecting, her flows are genuinely pretty good and diverse, and she's bringing sort of the hard-edged personality that used to be the standard coming from Nicki rapping, who here... Okay, seriously, the first bar is rhyming mouth with mouth, and that's not the only double rhyme here. And yeah, it takes Nicki Minaj a little while to pick up speed to match up with Migos and Cardi B, but you know what, she does get there. The problem is that many of her lines, I just can't help but make me cringe here. Like telling guys to get a straw because you know this pussy is juicy, or telling this person to go sit on the potty. And yeah, at this point, she is a more detailed writer, but Cardi B, she's more consistent. She's bringing more energy, and I will respect that a fair bit more. Anyway, we finally hear a verse from Takeoff on this show, and again, I like this guy's tone, and his bars connect at least as well as Offset, so the song as a whole, okay, look, if it was just Offset, Cardi B, and Takeoff, I probably wouldn't still love it because of the faint tinkling and flares of the production. They aren't great against your by-the-numbers trap beat, but it would have more of a shot for me. As it is, okay, I guess. And you know what? That was our week. Pretty short, but honestly feels pretty clear cut here, with both the best and the worst being the solo joints from Without Warning. 21 Savage, he easily clinches the worst here, even though I will say that's more mediocre than outright terrible, where Offset will get the best. The groove of that song really clicked, I gotta say. But yeah, next week is the last of the Billboard year for 2017. Who will manage to get just enough points and make that year-end list? We will find out soon enough. But till then, I'm Mark, you're watching Billboard Breakdown on Spectrum Pulse, and I'll see you next time.